So, the reticular activating system is a switch. It is in your head. The switch goes on and it goes off based on how much telling tension you've got. Anytime that you are daydreaming, anytime that your brain is active, it shuts the switch down in your head. It is physically impossible to retain information when this switch is shut. Now, how does this impact your world? Pretty dramatic. Think about this. In high school, do you guys remember being in high school? You were in a class for an entire hour. You were almost certain the teacher was there because you could see him walking around, and you could hear him every so often going blah, 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 blah. But you walked out of that class after an hour and you have absolutely no idea what you learned. Ever had that go on? Some of you got it going on right now? Maybe? Okay. That's what happens. You were in class thinking about your date tonight, or your new car, you're thinking about all these new things, and as your brain was speaking, it shut the switch off. It made it physically impossible for you to retain the information. You want another example? How many of you have been driving down 405 or I-5? You drove for 20 miles, and all of a sudden you woke up and went, I have no idea where I just came from. I'm supposed to take 3 exits back, missed it. Been there? Yeah, isn't this insane? I mean, that you're driving a 3,000-pound missile down the freeway at 60 miles an hour, you are passing cars, they are passing you, and you have absolutely no memory of that. That's scary. That's how powerful the switch is. So think about this in your life. A lot of you are just learning about this reticular activating system, and think about how much it's impeded your learning over the years, whether it's in school or not. Just in general, communicating with people. There's 3 levels of listening you should be aware of. Level 1 listening is very ineffective, but that's what majority of us do. Level 1 listening, if I was having a conversation with this young lady here and I was speaking to her, what is she doing in most cases besides actually listening to me? Thinking about the response, right? I'm talking, she's thinking about what she's going to say next. That shuts this down. In a sales environment, I'm a customer. I'm telling you about my needs. What are you as a salesperson doing instead of listening to me? You're thinking about what you're going to sell me, right? You're trying to fulfill my need. We miss a tremendous amount of opportunity because we are horrible listeners. Level 1 listening is what 99.9% of the people on this earth do. We do not listen. It is just not innately built into us. Let's just say that you walked into a bank branch and there are 4 teller windows. There's 3 tellers working it, and there's 1 empty window. 1 empty window, nobody in it. Now there happens to be a branch manager standing behind the tellers doing some busy work. 20 customers in line waiting impatiently for assistance. Guess who all 20 customers are staring at? Get it? The manager. See, they're looking at that empty window, and they're looking at that person back behind the tellers, and they're thinking, listen, if you are qualified to be behind a teller, you must be qualified to be a teller. Therefore, why don't you get your rear end in that window and help bring this line down? And we will get emotionally charged. We'll get furious. And when we get up to those 3 tellers that are working just diligently, we'll get up to them, and they're going to get treated rudely because we have so much anxiety built up. They're not going to get treated very well. Matter of fact, they're going to look at each other and go, how come everybody's being so cranky today? Well, look behind you. That's the reason. So what are some of the things that we do or do not do that create misperceptions? What if you were taking your significant other out to a fine dining experience? You pulled up out in front of a restaurant. You look at the outside of the restaurant, you're trying to decide if you want to go in there or not. But you look and the paint's kind of chipped and cracked on the outside. You can see that the windows have a sheen of grease because they haven't been cleaned for about 3 or 4 months. The open sign's cockeyed, there's tape all over it. You look at the front window, the door has fingerprints and stuff all over it. Now, I don't know about you, but if they can't take care of the stuff that I can see, what are they doing to the stuff that I can't see, like the kitchen? What does that look like? See, that freaked me out. I'm not going to go eat there. So our perception becomes our reality. We will make decisions about whether we're going to do business with you based on things like that. How people judge us. See, we are judging machines. The minute you walked in here, you began judging me. You've been judging me for an hour and a half. And you know what? I am totally okay with it because I've been judging all of you as well. If you want, we can go back around one by one later and talk about it. No. But we are judging machines. We're driving down the road, we see a big Mercedes pass us, we start judging them. Big monster truck comes flying by us, we judge them. We judge by the way people are dressed, by their hair. We are judging machines all the time. It happens at a subconscious level. We don't stop and think we're doing it, or we don't work on it. It's just we do it. When you came in here and sat, you looked around the room, and you began judging people as well. That's just what we do. So let's talk about some of the things, some of the tools that we use to judge each other by. On the telephone, you can fill these blanks in if you'd like. On the telephone, 14% of how you're being judged when you pick up a telephone are the words you use. 86% of how you're being judged is your voice inflection. Think about this. When you were trying to decide, you wanted to buy some new cool guy big screen TV, you called around to 3 stores. They were all downtown Seattle, and they were all the exact same drive. It was the exact same product. It was the exact same price in all locations. How are you going to decide which one you're going to go to? Who sounded the most friendly? Who sounded the most compassionate? Who had the most enthusiasm? Who sounded like they had the most product knowledge? You're going to make your decision by the voice inflection, because how else could you? It's the same stuff, same drive. That's how people make their decisions. They're going to decide, am I going to drive 20 miles to do business with this person? And it's going to be based on what they hear, the voice inflection. I want to bounce something off you that's pretty big. I'd like you to think about this like a fine red wine. Swirl it around a little bit and give this some thought. There is nobody that should ever have the power to take you over emotionally. Nobody. Nobody should ever be granted the license to take you over emotionally. Nobody. It's not an easy concept. It's not easy. You've heard people say, oh, they made me mad. No, they didn't. You made you mad. So you might not like what you heard. You might not like what people say or do. But you actually ran that decision up into your head. You made a conscious decision on how you were going to handle your own emotions. It's a decision. And you made the decision in most cases to try to punish this other person back. You made a conscious choice to do that. All I want to ask of you is I want you to rethink your decision. Rethink your filter. When it goes up, I want you to rethink your filter and think to yourself, is why would I grant that person that much license to take me over emotionally? See, a lot of the times it's people you don't even know. I mean, it's customers that walk in the door, you don't even know them, you're having a great day. Are you going to allow that person to reach up into your heart, rip your heart out, and stomp on it on the ground? Why would you allow that person that much license? Nobody should ever be granted that much license. And you'll hear people say, yeah, my boyfriend, oh, he makes me jealous. No, he doesn't. You make you jealous. It was a conscious choice. I mean, is this easy? No, it's not easy. Our attitude tells others what we expect in return. This is the same thing we're talking about. If somebody comes in with a bad hair day and you treat them like they got a bad hair day, why would they change? They'll keep the bad hair day. I mean, all you're doing is reinforcing to them that everybody around them is a jerk. When somebody comes in, I'd like you to reframe this and think, you know, I'm going to treat them the way I want them to be, because maybe they'll walk out the person they should be. Does that make sense? Treat a person as they are, they're going to remain as they are. Logic. But if you treat a person as you want them to be, they may walk out the person they should be. We have an incredible amount of power. We individually in this room have an amazing amount of power to change people's emotions. Some of us are better than others at that. Every single person in this room is absolutely key to making a culture change like this. Not one of you in this room can look at me and go, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't think so. The reason is because brands take years and years to build, but they can be destroyed very quickly. How many of you ever had a circumstance? You might have walked into, let's say, and I have nothing against this organization, this is an example only, but let's just say you walked into McDonald's and you had a bad experience with one employee. How many of you walked out of there and said, we're never doing business with McDonald's again. I hate McDonald's. You got home, you told your family, we are never eating at McDonald's again. You went to a cocktail party that night, you told your friends, gather around, I want to talk about McDonald's for a minute. Oh yeah, we become just voracious. We are assassins. And we're going to destroy the brand. See, the interesting thing is the act of one employee set us off, and we will try to destroy your entire brand. 12,000 locations in the United States, and I will try to destroy your entire organization. I had a lady one time, after one of these seminars, she comes up and she goes, you know what you're telling me? She goes, it's true. I went into a Target store 12 years ago to return a shirt. She said, I just want a different size. I didn't have my receipt. They told me I couldn't. I walked out and said, I'm never coming back. And I says, well, you know, they got a lot of new employees over the last 12 years. You might give it a try. And she goes, no.